you're not part of the orchestral world, you might not understand what a bold move this is. The Music Unites Us is a very unusual project. The Holland Symphony Orchestra that is located in Holland is saying we want to explore the cultural diversity within our own people, in our own area. And they're making it happen. It's, I think, groundbreaking, frankly, for symphony orchestras to do this. And so it's been just a wonderful project of diversity and of growth and of understanding. And I know that the listeners will feel that for sure. But I certainly have felt that as well, just being privileged to be part of this big mix of people and helping this whole project to come together to help us understand one another better, I think is just beautiful.
The Music Unites Us project was born 2 summers ago when Holland Symphony invited a mariachi group from Los Angeles to come to perform with the orchestra on a free concert at Kollen Park in the summer. This was so popular with the audience that we invited them back a second year, and the audience just became so engaged with the rhythmic tunes and the rhythms and the upbeat songs that were performed with the orchestra. People were laughing and clapping and singing and taking cell phone videos and dancing in the aisles. It was just an absolutely electric couple of evenings. After the concert, a lady came up to us and said, "Next year, will you do a concert for my people?" She was Vietnamese. That lit a light bulb in all of us who do the planning for Holland Symphony, and we began to think, I wonder how many other diverse groups there are in our community that might like to sing with a community orchestra. So we began an application process with lots of publicity, going to all kinds of ethnic fairs, and inquiring about people that might be interested in performing with Holland Symphony in the future. 5 groups were chosen. The next part of the project was finding a composer willing to listen, get to know these groups, select a song that he could compose or arrange so that they could perform with the orchestra. He did that with 4 diverse ethnic groups. The 5th artist is a blind violinist, highlighting this diversity as well. And so this concert in August will be the fruit of this 1.5 years worth of labor to make this project come to life. We hope you will join us, and thanks for listening.
My name is Julia Legrand, and I am a 19-year-old violinist. I got connected with the Music Unites Us project because I am a blind musician, and I am passionate about exploring what disability can bring to classical music. I'm really excited for this project with Holland Symphony. I think the project as a whole really addresses some of the things that are often overlooked in classical music, like how classical music can be a bridge and a conduit for expression that goes so much further beyond maybe the traditional expected classical music. And so this project with Holland Symphony, even though I myself am actually, playing a very standard sort of canonical piece, I think that bringing sort of disability and disabled musicianship to that equation is a really exciting thing, because of course there are, some disabled musicians that people are probably familiar with, but there aren't a lot, and so increasing visibility of disability is really, really important to me, and so I think that this project is an exciting way to do that.
My name is Samuel Nalangira. I was born and raised in Uganda. And I studied music when I was 8 years, and I became a music teacher at the age of 15 years. I wanted to share my music with it's a big choir, I see people playing my music, then that's the thing I was looking for. I was like, oh, that's a very big opportunity. Even knowing how much they're paying or whatever, I didn't care about that. All I cared to have those people play my music.
We are Grupo Supernova. We're originally from Puebla, Mexico, and we migrated to Holland in 1990. So we were pretty young. We lived in Holland since then. It was just really exciting for us to be performing with the symphony. That was really attractive, and it was really something new that we've never done. So it's a new experience for us that we could for sure put that in check mark it off our to do with the list with the band. I think it's going to be an extraordinary opportunity for the community to come together as well.
Okay, my name is Nina Tritenichenko. I am an accordion instructor, a retired music teacher, and I also teach students privately. I started playing accordion at age 7. My mom decided to bring me to the music school because our neighbor was playing accordion. It wasn't my decision. I had no idea what I wanted to do. I had a really good singing voice. I had some talent, my mom assumed, so she decided to do that. She brought me to the music school. Since then, I play accordion all my life.
Hello, chào tất cả quý vị khán giả thân yêu. Tôi là Cường Lương.
Hi, I'm Cường Lương. I immigrated here to the United States in 2015.
Yes.
And I participate with the community here through Studio 616 with Anne and Lei, and I'm very grateful to have an opportunity to sing along with my peers and my friends here at this studio. So I started singing at 15 years old. I attended a music school in Vietnam, Ho Chi Minh City. I perform a lot at school functions. And then at the age of 18, I started to perform for television. And when I was 21, I won the first place at a competition in Ho Chi Minh City. Yes. And then at 22 years old, I won the national singing award in Vietnam. I learned about this program, Music Unites Us, through Miss An, who is the owner of Studio 616 here. She alerted me to the program and encouraged me to apply. And so she helped me through the process. Yes. And then when I heard that I was accepted, I was very, very much elated. And I look forward to performing in August.
My name is Greg Shear, and I will be working with the Holland Symphony Orchestra on the Music Unites Us project. I'm somewhat of a unique composer in that I'm a total musical omnivore. I listen and write all sorts of music, and I have a specific interest in global music. So my ability to orchestrate and my background in global music then kind of made this perfect storm of a fit with the Holland Symphony Orchestra. And so then the project began. The Music Unites Us project has 4 performers that I'm working with. A Ukrainian bayan accordion player, a Ugandan multi-instrumentalist, a Vietnamese singer, and a cumbia group made up of Mexican brothers. And I'm just like a kid in a candy store with this. These are just all, some of it is new music to me, some of it is music that I understand more, but each of these pieces and presents a unique challenge and opportunity that's been really fun. So what you'll hear when you listen to these music, the final pieces of these versions of these music, is that each one is going to be very, very different. One of the tricky parts is, how do I give the symphony, give the orchestra a some kind of significant role in the piece? So I can't just have them, playing chords, just held, sustained chords behind the performers. That would be boring, and there wouldn't be any point of the orchestra being there. So then trying to figure out, kind of negotiating with the artists. I mean, this has been good for me to just kind of listen to you play and hear what you do, and especially the cumbia rhythm, that backbeat. It's clear that's got to be in there. That's got to keep pushing, right? And most likely that's going to come from you on guitar, maybe a little bit on the keyboard, because there's very little in the orchestra that's as forceful as that backbeat that you're making. In each of these cases, we were able to find a piece that really fit well for both groups, which was, I think, the key is to find the right song. The first meeting I had was with Nina, who plays the bayan accordion. That is the double-buttoned accordion, which is actually quite popular throughout the world, although we usually have a keyboard on one side and then the buttons on the other. And the thing about this, the bayan accordion, the button system, is that you can go extremely fast. The song that Nina and I chose is a song called Minka, Beautiful Minka, and it's a song about a soldier, if I remember correctly, a soldier going away and saying, "I'm going to miss you, Minka, I'll come back to you," and that kind of thing. But Nina has a version of this that really highlights the bayan accordion, so that each variation gets progressively more complex and faster. And and the approach that I took on that piece was very classical. In fact, we don't usually think of an accordion as something that plays with an orchestra, but there's a long tradition of accordions playing with orchestras.
I am not the first person who is going to perform with the symphony orchestra. I am proud to do that. The first guy who decided to do that was Argentinian composer Astor Piazzolla. He is very famous for his tango music. For example, Liber Tango is famous everywhere, all over the world. That composer, the first in human history, decided to write the music for accordion and symphony orchestra.
The next person I met with was Kung Lung. He is a powerhouse of a singer, and one of the most fun things was just getting to know him and the Vietnamese community. So I have enlisted a mutual friend of Kung and mine, Lei, and she's been doing some translating for us and also helping me understand Vietnamese culture and music, because it's been a real trick to find just the right song that will work for both Kung's style of singing and the orchestra. And as part of that, we've gotten to go visit with the Vietnamese community, and we had this great experience on the Lunar New Year, where Haley and I got to go to the celebration, and there was Vietnamese food, and the whole evening was karaoke. All right, so people would come up and they would sing their favorite Vietnamese song, but it was very clear that Kung was the star of the night. My next visit was with the Garcia brothers, who go by the name Grupo Supernova. And they're quite popular in the West Michigan area. They're based in Holland, but have played all throughout West Michigan. We eventually settled on a song, decided to choose a song called Sufro por tu amor, How I Suffer for Your Love. When I made that orchestration, I was able to use a lot of the kind of high horn hits and the Latin percussion and all that kind of stuff. So that was really fun for me to be able to write in a kind of a pop cumbia style, the research was really fun for that too, because I need to just do a deep dive into cumbia, and it turns out there's actually a cumbia orchestra that backs up a very popular cumbia vocal group. And so I was able to listen to that and just kind of like, okay, how do they play, and what do the strings do in this style of music? And that was really, really fun for me to study and learn. And the last meeting that I had was with Samuel Nalangiri from Uganda. And there was a nice connection there, because I actually visited Uganda about 15 years ago. And so I was really eager to meet with him, and I've done quite a bit of study of African music, so there was a lot of connection there, and so Samuel and I had just a lot of fun, just kind of jamming and trying stuff out. And Samuel is just a consummate performer. He has a way of connecting with the crowd. His whole basement is dedicated to his music, so he not only has a music studio where he can do recording, but he has a whole sound system down there, and then he has instruments everywhere because he teaches classes. But one of the problems is that he plays all of these Ugandan instruments, and it's not like he can just go to a music store, go to Guitar Center and buy an instrument from Uganda. So he started making these. Some of the more complex wood instruments he makes with his father-in-law at his father-in-law's wood shop.
The string I use, they're here, by the way. They're here. These are fishing lines. So everything you see here, it's not expensive. So these are fishing lines. So what I do, I get a string, it's like this one. So I twist it. I twist it like this, so it has this kind of like roughness. And also it gives me a vibration sound.
Yeah. He's like jerry-rigged this whole thing. So the strings are fishing line.
Yeah.
The tuning pegs are from guitars.
Yes.
The stands are from drums.
Yeah, the stand.
Right?
Yeah, I didn't get you. Yeah.
What was I looking at before? Sort of the bottom of that one.
This is a propane tank.
Yeah, all right. So yeah. The propane tank.
This is what I made out of a propane tank.
Let me tell you a little bit about the process of how I've approached each of these arrangements. The most important thing for me is to start with the music itself. I don't want to just send it through my musical meat grinder and have it come out sounding the same. The Vietnamese piece and the Ugandan piece sounding the same. That's not the goal. The goal is to write an orchestration, an arrangement that really fits the music well. So to do that, you need to understand the music well. And so each of these pieces, I've done a deep dive into the song itself, trying to listen to as many versions of the song as I can, understanding the culture that it's coming from. Where does it sit within the broader musical history of that culture? In my case, because I've done so much work with global hymnody and have done a lot of translations of global songs, one of the things that was important to me was to understand the words. And so for each of these songs, I asked the performer for translation, a literal translation of the words. And just because I'm an overachiever, I would make a translation, an English translation of each one of those. And I did that in part because I like to translate things, in song lyrics specifically, but also because it helped me in the writing. If I'm looking at something in Vietnamese, it doesn't mean anything to me. But if I'm looking at the Vietnamese with an English version of the lyrics underneath it, then I'm able to support those lyrics better with the music. So that was, one of the first things that I did was really understand those songs and the lyrics and what is kind of the heart of the piece, what is the heart of the style that I'm working for. With each piece, what I've done, after I do some basic study of the kind of the culture and the background and all those kinds of things, and I feel I'm as prepared as I can to engage this different style of music, then I get into the piece itself. The first thing that I need to do is transcribe the music. So transcribing is listening to the recording and then writing it down. And that's with every different kind of music, and it can be quite hard to do. So, for example, this piece that I'm working on right now is by Samuel Nalangiri. He wrote the piece, and it's called Babarye. And
So the song means I was telling my daughter, we are going somewhere far. And this journey, and where we are going to go, on our way going, there are forests, there are mountains, and the people who are living in those forests, they are very dangerous. So we need to leave before it gets dark. Once it gets dark, we might not make it there because people in that forest, they may harm us. So I was telling my daughter to hurry, to bring whatever she has so we can leave in order to get there safely.
And he has a very, very fluid vocal style. So he'll kind of float into a note and then just kind of drift off of it. It's very hard to figure out exactly what he's writing. And so I transcribed it, and I made sure that all of the Lugandan lyrics fit with the music that I'd written down, and then I fit an English text with it, so I kind of had a working text that reminded me of what part of the song that we're in. And then you start working with it. Now, this piece by Samuel, you would think that an African piece would be very dance-like, but that's not always true. They have ballads just like we have ballads. And so this one is just a very mesmerizing kind of thing. An important part of composing is that you are on an out-of-tune piano. So I have that in spades. But it's the main portion of this goes... just kind of rocks back and forth. So, that is not all that African in that sense. If I were to, actually it reminds me of... what's that Journey song? So it's quite pop-like in a lot of ways. But it's also very, very delicate and very mesmerizing. And so now what I need to do with this is I need to figure out a way to create a bed of music for Samuel so that Samuel can be as free as he wants to be with his voice and with his instruments on top of what the orchestra is playing. So whereas in other kinds of music, I was trying to get hits, right? Like, so that I know that the band is going to do ba-da-ba-ba-ga in a particular place, that I need the orchestra to do that with him. But in this place, he's so free in his musical style that I can't try to capture that with the orchestra. I need to just simply support it. And so that's what I'm doing right now. This might not look to you like blank pages of music, but it's essentially blank pages of music. I have the melody written out with the lyrics and everything that he's going to be doing. And then I have just blank staves that I need to fill up with orchestrations. And I'm right now kind of laying it out. And I've been known to, when I'm in the heat of the compositional process, especially when I'm writing a big piece, I tend to visualize things well. And so I've been known to take 20 or 30 pieces of paper and tape them to the wall, and then start rearranging them, and then take out a pair of scissors and start cutting, and then moving this theme to there and this theme to there, and then I slowly place everything together. So that's kind of the process that I'm in right now, the very beginning of the process. Whereas the first part of the writing process is at the piano with pencil and paper, the next part of the process is taking all the things that you wrote there and putting it into the computer. So I use the program Dorico for my music notation, and I use Note Performer to play the music back so I can hear it. And it's a very time-consuming process. So the orchestra has 40-some people, instruments, and each one of those people that is in the orchestra needs a part, and that part is going to be about 2 pages long. And so when you start looking at this, it's just note after note. Every single line that you write for flute 2 or for the viola or the timpani. Each one of those, you need to put the notes in, then you need to put the dynamic, you need to put accents and other markings, you have to put slurs. All of this communicates something to the musicians, so they play it the way that you want to hear it. So this particular piece that I have up right now is the Vietnamese piece for Kung Lung, who is the singer. And it's a song about a figure, a Vietnamese figure called La Cong, which is actually an amalgamation of two different historical figures that they put in, created this kind of mythical father of Vietnam. And it's a patriotic piece in that it's an ode to this figure, La Cong. And it's talking about that all of Vietnam, they're the children of La Cong, and we should be proud of our country and of our people and our heritage. It's really kind of a beautiful, beautiful song, and it's very, very big. So I'll play a little bit of this, and you'll just hear how big it is. Many times when you hear Vietnamese music, you hear these very light instruments and vocals, but this is a very different style. So this is the orchestration of La Cong. So you can see it's a really big piece. That opening section has lots of brass. The strings are way up high like they would be in a Hollywood movie. Now it's got a little bit of a snare drum in there, which is a typical kind of used in patriotic music for kind of a marching thing. And now we get into the meat of the piece, and a drum set comes in, because that's part of the style that we have. Unite us. There are so many things that can divide us, and music is a great way of sharing ourselves, of being able to kind of let people know this is who I am, this is who my people are, and then we get to hear that, and we have this new perspective on who a different kind of people are, and I think that's a beautiful thing.
There's really nothing more human than expressing emotion and ideas, not through any language that maybe differs, by country, by region, but through this much more sort of fluid and changeable medium, which is music. And if we have, the proper exposure and the proper access, I think music is sort of fundamentally one of the most human ways to connect and to express.
Even if people don't understand what it's all about, they can feel what it's all about, because it's so lyrical. It's most of the Ukrainian songs about love, and people understand love language without translating.
But Michigan is full of good people, loving people, people who would love you the way you are.
Amanya gange mamta Samuel Nalangira.
Somos Grupo Supernova.
Моє ім'я Ніна Тритиніченко.
My name is Julia Legrand.
Và xin kính chào quý vị khán giả, tôi là Cường Lương.
Muziki yatugata fena.
La música nos une.
Музика нас усіх зближує.
Music unites us.
Và âm nhạc đoàn kết chúng ta. Music unites us.